Good morning. I'm higher vibrations and so are you. A lot of us right now are just starting to experience this journey of this self-understanding and experiencing a lot of darkness. And for me, it is very empowering to know what those things are. It takes away the strength of the fear of it. Just it's to have something to identify and to have maybe a couple of directions. The beginning process of one of those darknesses is the dark night of the soul. A lot of people experience this more than once. I've actually never heard of someone only having one, but they vary in strength and time that it takes to go through. But one thing that I did discover, and from my own experience, that when I use shadow work and I'm actually like addressing these things head on and with intention of doing so, it's so much better. It doesn't take as long, and it gets to be a healing process, which it always is, whether or not we realize it at the time. So Dark Night of the Soul is explained by a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. But what it really truly is there's a lot of stuff that we've carried around in our lives throughout our many lives that is considered to be karma or whatever you want to call it. Something about moments in our experiences that needs to be released. And we just carried it around. It just makes us who we are. It's been something that we've always done. But now we're at this point where we are raising our frequency, and those dark things, they can't go with us. And as we do work through them, we bring light to them. And it's a very beautiful process. Some people find that they have such traumatic physical response to this, they actually think for a time that they're having some kind of an illness. It can feel like depression, severe depression in a lot of cases, at least for a short time. And, you know, a lot of it is the shedding of these ideas and these identifiers of labels of who we are. You know, we all have these labels, we all have these identifiers, and you know, this and this and this makes up who I am. And that's just how we've lived our lives all of this time. And as we're moving through into our new frequency, we're seeing that way of living is not serving us any longer. But it is something hard to work through and to change the way we think. And that's what most of this stuff is. We've been indoctrinated into a system. We've been taught, starting at a very young age, likely for multiple lifetimes, that this is the way things are done and this is the way things are not done, and it's just kind of become ingrained in us. And so it is a slow process to let go. With the shadow work, I found some beautiful meditations online. The one that I ended up using in the early days, one done by Aaron Apke. I'm not sure how easy it would be to find his specific meditation again, but I will connect a link to a good guided meditation for shadow work. And all that really entails, I tried a few different versions of it in the past, and they all have you in a place of meditation descending into some place. I think Aaron Apke's was you were descending down a spiraling staircase into like a deep basement. I did the shaman one, this Native American one, where you went into a tree. The tree was hollowed out in some way, and then it turned out to be a room. And once you closed the door of that one, then another door appeared, and you went through that door, descending into a whole different forest. And each time, you know, so you descend in some way, and in the way that we're guided, it brings you to the things that need your love. For me, I found my child self, and I needed a hug, you know, and other things too. And as we look at these things and do them, they're definitely exhausting. It's not easy work. You're looking at stuff that you've been carrying around for a really long time that have become just who you are in some way. Give yourself the room that you need to be gentle with yourself. Like, you're okay. The room that you need to understand. There's going to be some error. You're not going to do it in the most perfect way that you think that you will. And maybe you will. But if you don't be hard on yourself. Success is in the doing of the thing, not the end result, right? As we move on, as we ascend, we are two halves of a whole, right? We have this dark side and we have this light side. And we've spent so much time ignoring this darkness. And I'm not saying to engage in that darkness, but it does need to be lifted, acknowledged, and released. And for long over a year, I've been shown to watch this movie that I've known so well throughout my life. And here's the spoiler alert for Dark Crystal. But please, if you have not watched it, please watch it. I will put the link or some type of a link so you can do that. It's amazing how much of this movie that was released in the 70s by Jim Henson, the Muppet guy, like how much of this movie is actually useful information right now for me. So, spoiler alert, here comes the ending of the movie. The two races that were battling one another, the wise old mystics and the dark Skeksis, the reason that they were separating, right? The reason that when one was injured or hurt or killed and the other one disappeared was because they were two sides of a whole. And one side was the dark side and one was the light. And right now what we're doing, and I knew this already, but I didn't understand exactly until I just did this meditation and channel. But what we're doing, in the end of the movie, the two combine and they're whole again and they're golden. They're not black and they're not white. They're golden. They are the Christ consciousness and they are complete again. And I knew that was happening, but I thought that was the convergence that we are having with our higher selves right now. Our higher aspects are starting to become our present aspects. That is happening, but we're also absorbing. Once we bring these things to light in our shadow work, once we address them, the darkness kind of shakes off of them, and we can absorb them as a complete being. And we don't have to be afraid anymore. We are all the light, and we're here today, raising the light, the frequency of the planet as one beating heart, beating with Gaia's heart. We're here. This is exciting, but it doesn't feel very good when you're going through this darkness. I hope that some of these tools have empowered you in some way to help you on this journey of yours. And know that it's temporary. It's very temporary. And it's so worth it. Like, the other side of it is amazing. We just got to shake off some of this stuff. Acknowledge and release. No judgment. I hope you're having a wonderful journey. If you have any questions, please comment. Email me. My email address is at the end of the description of every one of my videos. Have a wonderful day. Blessings.